Chapter Black is better than the Dark Tournament. Dragon Ball has better writing than people give it credit for. Naruto is remembered way worse than it actually was because of Boruto, and Minecraft is the greatest video game of all time, by definition. There are some takes that I have written down that I couldn't make a full video out of because it just lacks substance, but I still need to get them off my chest, and I know I'm not the only one, because more importantly, I want to hear your shameless hot takes, and I emphasize shameless hot takes. Hills you will die on. Go ahead, drop your wildest hot takes in the comment section and I'll make weekly videos reacting to as many as possible. And it don't have to be just anime. Hot takes on gaming, rapping, fashion, rhyming accidentally, or even hot takes about my channel. If it's bold, interesting, or just gaining traction in the comment section, I'll react to it and put it in one of these weekly videos. Let's make this an ongoing conversation series. And who knows, other people might agree with you. But today, since it's just me starting things off, here are my hottest Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Minecraft takes that we gonna touch on today. And if you don't know me, hey, what's up y'all? Welcome to The Bread Show. A place where we give our anime and gaming opinions while also doing a little bit of animating and gaming ourselves. Please hit that like button so we can get more and more hot takes in the comment section. And please hit that subscribe button because we closing in on 10K. So yeah, me personally, I think that Chapter Black is better than the Dark Tournament. When it was first coming out, I could see why the Dark Tournament was viewed as the best because tournament arcs were still new. But hear me out when I say this. Chapter Black bends the morals of the world itself. Like the real world and the Yu Hakusho world. I know this might be a bit of an exaggeration, but negativity in an anime wasn't this embraced until Gon's transformation in Hunter x Hunter. Chapter Black was a heavy hitter and it tackled questions that the world could not answer. I found myself personally feeling really uncomfortable with some of the questions Sensui was asking while I was watching that anime. And if the point of taking in this arc is to feel something as a viewer and a watcher, then I think that Chapter Black does that perfectly. And not to mention the fact that Chapter Black also had versatility. They had a murder mystery in a hospital setting when they were trying to find the doctor who was actually poisoning the patients. And that was in the buildup of it all. I feel like there were a lot of good characters in the Dark Tournament, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the characters in Chapter Black were more of a mainstay and more memorable. I already mentioned Kamiya the doctor, but because of Hagiri the sniper, we got Yusuke versus Hiei. That was all during the Chapter Black arc as well. King Enma was talked about before this arc, but he was actually introduced like visually to be able to be seen in this arc, and he sunned Lord Koenma and brought another level of seriousness into the show because Koenma himself is not that serious of a character until the Dark Tournament arc, and then King Enma plays no games at all. And I thought it was very fitting for this arc because the stakes are so much higher in Chapter Black than they are in the Dark Tournament arc. The story in this arc was unmatched, and this was Kuwabara's last arc. This was his swan song story. And if you like Kuwabara before, you'll love him after Chapter Black. As Yusuke takes on like a demon type of role in this morally bending story, Kuwabara becomes the legitimate hero, aligning himself with the hero on the moral scales of everything. If you like fights more, then yeah, you're probably gonna like Dark Tournament better. But in terms of story, character building, and just the switching of roles from Yusuke to being kind of evil, Sensui being good to evil, and then Kuwabara going from delinquent to hero of the whole story, the object prize. Yeah, Chapter Black will take you for a ride. If Genkai actually died during the Dark Tournament, then I feel like I would probably think about this differently, but the fact that she didn't made me not, and now I don't. I still really love the Dark Tournament, one of my favorite tournament arcs ever. So I'm not really talking down on the Dark Tournament as much as I am hyping up the Chapter Black. And then finally, I feel like Sensui was a better villain for me than younger Toguro. Again, younger Toguro was great and everything, but I like Sensui a lot better. That might just be personal preference because I like the villains that are equal to the protagonist but opposite, like Venom, Shadow, Dark Link, Sasuke. So yeah, I think Chapter Black is better than the Dark Tournament. That's more of an opinion. This is something that I hear a lot of people talk about and it makes me angry. I feel like Dragon Ball has better writing than people give it credit for. So many times I hear that Dragon Ball is about Goku saving the day, or it's just about fights and that's the only reason why people like it. No. No, 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 no. A fight is just a fight without writing to it. And there's plenty of fighting shonen to prove that. And trust me, I have examples. One of my biggest examples is Piccolo versus 17. Just looking at Piccolo versus 17 and their both respective rankings on the villainy scale, that fight shouldn't have been as impactful as it was. But it takes the skills of the writer and the writing of the whole story to wrap up all the parallels and things and why those are natural enemies. I mentioned this before, I will say it again. Piccolo started out the story trying to kill Goku, and Piccolo vs. 17 was one of Piccolo's last moments as a top tier fighter in the show before Super. So how fitting is it that he goes against 17, who was a new character being brought in with the same goal that Piccolo had when he was born? And if that doesn't convince you, there's other moments like Gohan versus Vegeta. It wasn't even really a versus, Vegeta just stepped up to him. On Namek, when Gohan was hiding the 2 Dragon Balls that he stole, he and Krillin and Bulma stole. That scene doesn't have any fighting in it at all. But it might as well have, because the hype was there. I was on the edge of my seat seeing Kid Gohan, who didn't like the fight, go up against the most villainy villain we've seen in the show up to that point. That's writing. That's writing. It doesn't have anything to do with Goku or fighting or anything. And those are just 2 random moments that I can think of off the top of my head. There are plenty more. As a matter of fact, Gohan's whole character arc and evolution is a testament to how good Akira Toriyama's writing is. From starting out as the kid of the strongest man ever, in the namesake of the previous strongest man ever, doesn't like to fight until he's pushed to the edge, and then when he's pushed to the edge, he pushes everybody's limits, and then he figures out how to use that to his advantage, gets too full of himself, and it becomes the downfall of the whole team constantly yet again, and he always goes back to the homeostasis of, I'm not even really a fighter. And then, for all the disappointed fans out there that he didn't ever really accept his fighting role, you had future Gohan's timeline to wrap everything up, because he embraced being a fighter in that timeline. And side note, I think it's because of the good writing that they were able to balance the other timelines so well. Of course, there's plot holes in the timeline thing. Anytime you introduce a timeline, whether it's Flash or whatever, there's gonna be plot holes. But every time I see someone question Akira Toriyama's writing ability, I always think of this picture right here. That is Teen Gohan carrying Yajirobe, Bulma, and Kid Trunks. This was before the fight with the androids. And as we know from Trunks' timeline, Goku gets sick, dies, everybody perishes to the androids. And in Trunks' timeline, it's this group of people that are alive. And it's never explicitly said to us. I've watched Dragon Ball so many times, I played so many of the games, and it took me a while before I found this picture and realized it. And it's like, oh, yes, this was the part of the timeline where everything split. This freeze frame right here. Speaking of the Cell Saga and the Android Saga, for everyone who thinks that Dragon Ball stops being peak after Frieza, Cell's introduction was so peak, and of course, Piccolo was there for that too. They introduced the next mayhem during the current mayhem. The way Akira Toriyama was able to tie arcs in between each other, where the way every arc ended is how every arc started in the next arc, that's writing. It wasn't Oda level of foreshadowing, no, but it was still foreshadowing and flow, just serious flow. Every Dragon Ball character had real personalities, and all of their decision makings went super in line with their personalities until they got that point where it was an inflection in their moral compass and their character arcs ended positively or negatively. Vegeta's sacrifice, Piccolo's sacrifice, future Trunks reacting to future Gohan's death. All that stuff is writing. It has nothing to do with fighting or overuse of Goku, which you could even argue that in Z at least, they didn't overuse Goku at all. I made a video about this a couple months ago. Goku was really barely ever in Z, and when he was in Z, he was taking L's. He took a lot of L's. I'm pretty sure when we looked at it, his record was 4, 7, and 1. But over the course of the whole Dragon Ball story, it's all hidden in the writing. Goku's presence is always felt as the strongest man, as the hero who can in face of whatever problem that they have to face. But very rarely is Goku and the Z Fighters ever actually equipped to do the job that they're taking on. And you know what else is perfect writing, just as a cherry on top? The way they end each series. They ended Dragon Ball with a wedding and a wedding story. They ended Dragon Ball Z with Goku literally saying bye. And if you have not watched the Dragon Ball GT ending, you have to watch it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'ma tell you it's a tearjerker. One of the most emotionally moving episodes in the whole franchise. Even if you never watched GT, just watch that ending. I don't know how anybody can possibly say that Dragon Ball has bad writing. For this one, let's get straight to the point. Boruto soured the taste in our mouths, and Naruto is paying for it. Naruto is more peak than people think. The Attack on the Leaf Village from Pain, Chunin exams, I don't have to go through Naruto's peak moments. But the anime adaptation for Boruto, which was kid-friendly, rehashing Naruto's story with new characters, absolutely neutering Naruto after we seen his whole ascension as a character, and then tons and tons of filler in the year of 2017. It really just halted all the positive conversations that was coming from Naruto, and now I feel like people didn't talk about it, and now people remember Naruto more negatively than it actually was, especially with the fact that there were new people working on Boruto immediately after Naruto ended. And I think it was just a fumbled transition. Not saying that Boruto was necessarily bad, but I just don't think it adapted well, and then that transition was just muffled. We gotta remember that Naruto was like 500 episodes. Like, Naruto was a very long journey, a very long story. So we grew with a lot of the characters, we grew with a lot of the adults that were in Boruto, and it felt like everything that they worked for, peace, being Hokage, or whatever else they worked for, like the experience got kind of nerfed and no one really got the happy ending that they hoped to get. Hinata might have been the only one who actually got a happy ending. Sakura was hoed, Sasuke still hoed, Naruto was hoed. Yeah, everybody really got hoed. Kakashi got Hokage even though he didn't even want it. And then finally, Minecraft is a GOAT video game by definition. Let me explain. The greatest game of all time goes to the game you could put all time into. If we're talking video games in isolation, not series, not franchises, not spin-offs, one game to be the GOAT, it's gotta be Minecraft. This game came out in 2008 or 2009, whenever it was, for 30 bucks and never looked back. You got your money's worth. This game was actually quite literally a worth multiplier. Whatever worth you put into it, it just gave it back to you times 10, no matter what you did. The community drives it. Still, to this day, the community drives the game. There is no Minecraft 2. It didn't need a movie. All the spin-offs, the story modes, the apps, and everything pale in comparison to the original product. And you can argue that the spin-off, story mode, and all that are more games than the actual game itself. We see all the time live service games pop up. There's one, obviously one that mainstays, Fortnite, but we see a lot of the live service games need new monthly add-ins and doodads and gizmos and all this other stuff to keep people playing and everything. And then after 6 months, it's gonna get dropped anyways. And then single player games are great, but they are single player games, so people play them individually by themselves, and then the stories just kind of die out after 10 years, even for the good ones. Or Minecraft is sitting there amazing off the muscle. Either modded, not modded, single player, multiplayer, vanilla, whatever you want. The creators literally add stuff like bees every 2 years, and then they could go back home. And again, no sequels. Everybody who once enjoyed this game is sure to enjoy it the same at some later date. There's no such thing as like, oh, a Minecraft phase. You will always like Minecraft if you liked it once before. It'll just be a 2-week phase where you go crazy on a vanilla Minecraft world or something like that. The greatest game of all time goes to the game that you can put all your time to. All right, yeah, that's my hot takes video. I got in some hot takes and hopefully you took them in and received them all the same. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you have your own hot takes, you will be featured in the next video. And all the hot takes you want to see featured in the next video, just like it. That's all you got to do. Like the comment. And then I'll see all the interesting ones, all the ones that people comment, and hopefully, yeah, we can get this thing going. I will still be doing the One Piece review. That is not changing. It's just that this will be like a midweek Tuesday type of upload. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy all of my other videos. And hopefully I convince you to subscribe to the channel. Hopefully I convince you to like the video so we can get as many comments in here as possible. And yeah, welcome to The Bread Show. Spread love, give inspiration, and all you do. And peace out.
Welcome to The Bread Show. Take 2.